Nobody in that luxury store had any idea who Monica really was. To them, she was just another ordinary black woman walking in with her little daughter. But what happened next left everyone completely speechless. Monica had promised her daughter Lily that she could choose anything she wanted for her upcoming birthday. Not because Monica wanted to show off, but simply because Lily had always been the kind of child who never asked for much. As they walked through the glass doors of the most expensive fashion store in the city, Monica noticed how every head in that showroom slowly turned toward them. The glances weren't friendly. The whispers had already begun. But none of that mattered to Lily. The moment she spotted a beautiful pair of shoes, her eyes lit up like Christmas morning. "Mama, look! Aren't these so pretty?" Monica smiled softly. "They sure are, baby. Do you want to try them on?" Before Lily could even answer, a sharp, cold voice cut through the moment. "And what exactly do you think you're doing here?" Monica turned around calmly. Standing behind them was Emma Clark, the store manager, arms crossed, looking them both up and down like they didn't belong. "This section is strictly for serious buyers," Emma snapped. "Not for people who want to waste our time." Monica stayed quiet. She knew exactly where this was going. But Lily's little face dropped in confusion. "I just wanted to see these shoes for my birthday," Lily whispered shyly. Emma chuckled mockingly. "Birthday shoes? Sweetheart, these cost more than your mother probably makes in a year." Gasps echoed quietly from nearby customers. But Emma wasn't done. "People like you should know your place," Emma continued. "This is not some thrift shop where you can just touch everything and walk away." Monica looked down at Lily, who was now gripping her hand tightly, fighting back tears. Monica finally spoke, her voice calm and steady. "We didn't mean to cause any trouble. We were just looking." Emma shook her head, her voice laced with arrogance. "Looking? That's the problem with people like you. Always looking, never buying." Without a second thought, Emma turned to the security guard standing near the door. "Please escort them out," she ordered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "before they embarrass themselves further." The security guard hesitated. Even he looked uncomfortable, but orders were orders. As Monica and Lily were slowly walking toward the exit, Lily's soft, innocent voice broke the heavy silence. "Mama, why were they so mean to us?" "We didn't even do anything wrong." Monica knelt down beside her daughter, brushing a tear from her cheek. "Baby, sometimes people judge others by what they see on the outside," she said gently. "But that's their mistake to live with, not ours." Just as they reached the door, Monica turned around one last time, her eyes meeting Emma's with a calmness that felt almost chilling. "One day," Monica said quietly, "you'll learn that respect doesn't cost a single dime." And with that, they walked out. But what Emma didn't know, what no one in that store knew, was that Monica wasn't just any customer. Emma's words stung like sharp needles, not because Monica cared about Emma's opinion, but because Lily was standing right there, learning the cruelty of this world way too early. Monica calmly looked at her daughter, her voice soft. "Lily, never let anyone tell you what you're worth." But Emma had already signaled the security guard. "Remove them from my store immediately. I don't want to see them here again." The security guard hesitated for a moment. He wasn't blind. He had seen how respectful Monica was, but Emma's glare was cold and commanding. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the guard said hesitantly. "Please, I have to ask you to leave." Monica held Lily's hand tightly. "It's okay. Come on, sweetheart." As they walked toward the exit, Lily tugged at her mother's hand. "Mama, did we do something wrong?" Monica smiled at her daughter, a different kind of smile, calm but powerful. "No, baby. People like her don't understand kindness. They only understand lessons." Monica gently leaned down and whispered something in Lily's ear. Whatever she said made Lily's face brighten instantly. They walked out without another word, but Emma wasn't done. "People like them always dream big but belong small," she muttered loudly enough for customers to hear. Back to reality. The next morning, Emma was her usual arrogant self, standing near the entrance, instructing her staff. "Make sure no nonsense happens today. I don't want yesterday's kind of people walking in." But what Emma didn't know was that today was going to change her life forever. Not long after, the entire showroom fell silent. A line of luxury black cars slowly rolled up in front of the store, one after another. Customers stopped shopping. Employees froze. Emma squinted, confused. Out of the biggest car stepped a woman dressed elegantly, graceful, powerful, and right beside her, little Lily, holding her hand. Emma's face turned pale instantly. It was Monica. But this Monica didn't look like yesterday's Monica. Behind her, suited men and women followed closely, carrying official folders. Before Emma could say anything, a tall man approached her hurriedly. "You must be Emma Clark," he said firmly. Emma straightened up nervously. "Yes, that's me." The man extended a folder toward her. "This is a notice from the head office, effective immediately. The owner of this entire luxury brand would like to have a word with you." Emma's throat went dry. "The owner?" she whispered. Monica stepped forward slowly, her voice calm, but unshakably powerful. "I believe we've met before." Emma's knees felt weak. It was impossible. The woman she kicked out yesterday was the owner of the entire brand. Emma's words from yesterday played like a nightmare in her head. "People like you should know your place." Today, Emma was about to learn exactly what her place was. Emma's eyes narrowed, trying to get a clearer look. The woman stepping out of the car looked strangely familiar. It was Monica. But this time, she wasn't dressed in her simple clothes. She wore elegance without even trying, confidence without needing to speak. Behind her, little Lily walked happily, holding her mother's hand, smiling the same innocent smile, only this time without any sadness in her eyes. Emma's heart skipped a beat. What is she doing here again?" Emma whispered under her breath. She stormed toward the entrance with her usual arrogance. "I thought I made it clear yesterday," Emma began sharply, but she stopped mid-sentence when a sharply dressed man in a suit stepped forward and quietly told her something that made the color drain from her face. "That's Mrs. Monica Williams," he whispered. "She's the new owner of this entire brand." Emma's throat went dry instantly. What? What do you mean, owner?" she stammered, struggling to breathe. The man didn't need to explain twice. Monica, calm as ever, finally looked Emma in the eye, the same woman who had humiliated her and her daughter less than 24 hours ago. Emma tried to fake a nervous smile. "Oh, Mrs. Williams, I didn't realize." But Monica's voice was firm, graceful, and unbothered. "Exactly," she replied. "You didn't realize. That's the problem." The entire staff stood frozen. Customers watched in shock. Lily tugged at her mother's hand again, whispering softly, "Mama, is this what you meant by teaching lessons?" Monica knelt beside her daughter and smiled. "Baby, the biggest lessons are taught without raising your voice." Then she stood up. turned to Emma and calmly said words that Emma would never forget for the rest of her life. "You judged us by our appearance. You looked down on me. But let me tell you something important. Respect doesn't cost a thing, but losing it will cost you everything." Emma's face turned pale. The silence in the store was deafening. Monica's words hung in the air like a heavy fog, and every eye was now on Emma, waiting for her response. But Emma had none. She couldn't speak. She couldn't move. The weight of her own arrogance had finally crushed her. Monica's eyes remained steady, unwavering. The woman who had been belittled only a day ago now stood before her, an embodiment of grace and power. But she didn't have to yell or demand anything. Her presence alone commanded the room. "Miss Clark," Monica finally said, her voice like silk, but carrying the undeniable weight of authority. "You don't need to apologize to me, but you will need to apologize to the people you humiliated yesterday. Every single person you disrespected when you thought they didn't belong here." Emma took a step back, her knees trembling. I didn't know who you were," she stammered. The arrogance was gone now, replaced by an overwhelming sense of fear. Monica smiled softly, though it wasn't a warm smile. It was the kind of smile someone gives when they know they hold all the cards. "You should have taken the time to get to know someone before you judged them," Monica replied. "But you didn't. You acted out of assumption, based on the color of my skin and the way I looked. And that is a lesson for you to learn." As the realization began to settle over Emma, the weight of her actions became almost unbearable. She had kicked out a woman who owned everything in this store, a woman who had every right to be here, not just as a customer, but as the very heartbeat of the brand itself. Monica turned her attention to the other employees, who were standing silently in shock, unsure of how to act. "I want every single one of you to remember this moment," Monica said. "You have to understand something. It's never the outward appearance that defines a person. It's what lies inside them. And if you ever forget that, I'll be here to remind you." Then she looked at Emma once more, her expression softening slightly. "I'm not here to destroy you, Emma. I'm here to show you the value of humility. It's something I know you've never learned, but now you will." Emma swallowed hard, her face flushed with embarrassment, her pride shattered into pieces. She wanted to say something, anything to make this go away, to regain some control. But the words wouldn't come. Monica turned away and began walking toward the back office. Her movements were smooth, confident. Lily, ever the curious child, glanced back at Emma. Her eyes were wide, filled with a mixture of innocence and unspoken understanding. As they disappeared into the back, the silence in the store was broken only by the hushed murmurs of the staff. The store manager, the one who had wielded power only hours before, was now reduced to nothing but a shadow of her former self. Her judgmental attitude, her blind assumptions, it all came crashing down in one moment. Outside the store, the luxurious cars were still lined up, waiting. The staff couldn't stop looking at the sleek black sedans, their windows tinted just enough to make them look almost mysterious. They had no idea that these cars were part of the empire owned by the woman they had just disrespected, the woman they had judged based on how she looked. Monica didn't care about making an example of Emma. She didn't care about destroying someone's career. What she cared about was showing the world that appearance meant nothing, that the strength of a person couldn't be measured by their clothes or the color of their skin. Inside the back office, Monica sat down behind a large desk, her fingers lightly tracing the wood. Lily climbed up into the chair beside her, her little face still glowing from the excitement of the day. "What happens now, Mama?" Lily asked, her voice full of wonder. "Are we going to keep the store?" Monica chuckled softly, her voice filled with warmth. "Yes, baby, we're keeping the store. But more importantly, we're going to make sure that no one ever feels the way we felt yesterday. Not here, not anywhere." Lily's eyes sparkled. "Will people be nice to us now?" Monica placed a gentle hand on her daughter's. "They'll be nice, sweetheart. But if they're not, we'll teach them. Gently, but firmly." As they sat there, the weight of the past few hours settled in. It wasn't just about the store. It wasn't even just about Emma. It was about standing up for what was right, no matter the cost. It was about setting an example for Lily, showing her that kindness and respect are not just things you do for others. They are the very things that define you. Outside, Emma stood in the store's main area, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. She could still feel the sting of Monica's words, the realization that she had been wrong. But it wasn't just about being wrong. It was about the damage she had caused. She had disrespected Monica, sure. But more than that, she had disrespected a mother and a daughter. Two people who were just looking for something as simple as a birthday gift. And now, she was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered pride. Emma's mind raced as she thought about the consequences of her actions. She had always been so focused on appearances, so obsessed with status and power, that she had forgotten the most important lesson of all. People are more than what they seem, and she had paid the price for it. As the day wore on, the employees began to go about their work, still shaken by what had just unfolded. But the lesson had been clear. No one would ever be allowed to treat anyone the way Monica had been treated. Not as long as Monica was in charge. When Monica finally left the back office, she made her way back to the front of the store. Emma stood there, waiting, unsure of what to say, unsure of what to do. Monica looked at her, but this time there was no anger in her eyes. Just calm understanding. "I think we both learned something today," Monica said softly. Emma nodded, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm sorry, I was wrong." Monica simply smiled, her expression kind but resolute. "It's not about being sorry, Emma. It's about changing. It's about making sure that this doesn't happen again." And with that, Monica turned to leave, her daughter following closely behind. As the door closed behind them, the store felt different. It felt quieter, more reflective. But more than anything, it felt like a place where respect had been redefined, where judgment had been exposed for what it truly was, shallow and meaningless. And as Monica and Lily drove off, their luxury cars gleaming in the sunlight, they knew that the world and this store would never be the same again.